You know that feeling? You're scrolling online looking for health advice, and it's just boom, 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 another diet trend.
Oh, yeah. One day it's all about some superfood, the next it's like a really specific timing thing.
Exactly. It's overwhelming. Makes you wonder if there's something simpler, something
Like,
fundamental.
that's kind of what we're digging into today.
Yeah,
There's this core idea backed by uh, quite a bit of science, actually.
which is
Eating a bit less. Sounds basic,
right.
right? But the concept, often called caloric restriction or CR, is surprisingly powerful.
Okay, CR. But let's be clear right off the bat. We're not talking about starving yourself, are we?
Not at all. That's crucial.
Yeah.
It's about consistently consuming, say, slightly fewer calories than your body needs to maintain its current weight.
Yeah.
But, and this is key, without any malnutrition.
Right. You still need all the good stuff. Vitamins, minerals, protein.
Absolutely. It's about nutrient density. Think thoughtful reduction, not, deprivation.
Okay. So we hear tons about what to eat, and that's important, no doubt. But today, it's about the how much and the science behind why that dial can make such a huge difference. Well, that's what we want to unpack.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Let's start with the most obvious benefit, the one everyone connects it with.
Weight management.
Exactly. Weight management. If you consistently take in fewer calories than you burn, you create an energy deficit. Simple physics, really.
And your body needs to get that energy from somewhere.
Right. So it taps into its reserves, primarily stored fat, and that leads, often gradually, to weight loss. Sustainable weight loss, ideally.
And that weight loss isn't just about fitting into old genes, is it? It seems like it triggers a whole wave of positive health changes.
That's the ripple effect. It's like the first domino. Losing excess weight can genuinely improve health across the board. Take the heart, for example.
Okay, cardiovascular health.
Yeah.
How does eating less help there?
Well, carrying extra weight puts a significant strain on your heart and blood vessels.
Mm-hmm.
It can push up blood pressure, mess with cholesterol levels, higher LDL, that's the bad one, maybe lower HDL, the good one.
Right, triglycerides too.
Often, yes. But when you lose weight through CR, these markers tend to improve. Blood pressure often comes down. Cholesterol profiles can look much healthier.
So less risk of arteries hardening, atherosclerosis.
Precisely. Which, in turn, lowers the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Plus, your heart just doesn't have to work quite as hard pumping blood to all that extra tissue.
Yeah.
It becomes more efficient.
Like giving your heart a bit of a breather. Okay. What about type 2 diabetes? That link with weight seems really strong.
Incredibly strong. Excess body fat, especially around the abdomen, is a major driver of insulin resistance.
That's when your cells kind of stop listening to insulin properly.
Exactly. Insulin is supposed to help sugar get from your blood into your cells for energy. But fat tissue can release substances that interfere with that signal.
Okay.
But here's the exciting part. Losing weight through CR can dramatically improve insulin sensitivity. Your cells start responding better again.
So blood sugar control gets better.
Much better. And this is really powerful in some cases. Significant weight loss can even lead to type 2 diabetes going into remission.
Wow. Remission, that's life-changing for people.
It really can be. Imagine reducing or even stopping medication just through sustainable diet changes. With medical guidance, of course.
Yeah.
I've seen stories. It's quite remarkable.
That is remarkable. Okay, what about cancer risk? We sometimes hear that being overweight increases the risk for certain types.
Yeah, that's another important connection the research is highlighting. Obesity is linked with a higher risk of several cancers.
Like which ones?
Things like colorectal, breast cancer postmenopause,
Yeah.
endometrial, kidney, esophageal cancers, quite a few.
And why is that? What's the mechanism?
Well, it's complex and still being fully worked out, but it likely involves things associated with excess fat, like chronic low-grade inflammation.
We'll probably come back to inflammation later.
Definitely. Also, hormonal imbalances, certain growth factors that might be higher. CR, by reducing fat and improving the metabolic environment, seems to potentially lower this risk.
So it's about fixing the underlying metabolic issues.
That seems to be a big part of it, yes.
Yeah.
It shows how interconnected everything is. Reducing fat isn't just about weight. It changes the whole internal environment.
Absolutely. Okay, heart, blood sugar, maybe cancer risk. What about something really common like joint pain, osteoarthritis?
Oh, that's a huge one. Think about your knees and hips. They carry your body weight all day, every day.
Right, every step.
So extra pounds mean extra stress. Constant grinding stress on that cartilage, the cushion in your joints.
Which wears it down faster.
Exactly. Accelerates wear and tear, increasing the risk or worsening existing osteoarthritis.
Uh,
But if you lose weight through CR, you lighten that load
takes the pressure off.
significantly. This can ease the mechanical stress, potentially slow the disease progression, and often, really importantly, it reduces pain.
That's so relatable. People feeling they can move more freely again.
Yeah, being able to walk further, play with grandkids, things they might have given up on, it makes a massive difference to quality of life.
It really does. And thinking about daily struggles, sleep apnea comes to mind too, often linked to weight, right?
Absolutely. Obesity is a primary risk factor for obstructive sleep apnea. That excess fat, particularly around the neck, can actually narrow or block the airway during sleep.
Leading to those pauses in breathing.
Yeah, and constantly waking up feeling exhausted even after a full night's sleep. It has serious long-term health risks too.
So how does CR help?
Weight loss achieved through CR can dramatically improve it. Less fat pressing on the airway means breathing is easier during sleep. For some, it can even resolve completely.
Wow. And better sleep just improves everything else.
Totally. Energy, mood, concentration.
Yeah.
Everything gets better when you sleep well.
Okay, one more in this category. Fatty liver disease. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD. Hearing more about that lately.
It's become very common, largely driven by obesity and metabolic issues. It's just too much fat building up in the liver cells.
And that's bad for the liver long term.
It can be. It can progress to inflammation, called NASH, and even cirrhosis, which is serious scarring. But CR and the resulting weight loss are very effective at reducing liver fat.
So it can actually reverse the fat buildup.
It can significantly reduce it, improve liver function, and hopefully prevent it from getting worse. It's a key intervention for NAFLD.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of the big tangible benefits linked to just managing weight better through eating less. But you mentioned the science goes deeper.
Oh, much deeper. Beyond these effects we can sort of see or feel more directly, CR seems to flip some really interesting switches at the cellular and molecular level.
This is where it gets really fascinating, I think. Stuff happening inside our cells.
Exactly. And these changes might be linked not just to better health now, but potentially to longevity. We see this consistently in animal studies.
Longevity. Wow. Okay, where do we start with the cellular stuff? You mentioned oxidative stress earlier.
Right. Oxidative stress. Think of your metabolism turning food into energy like a tiny engine in each cell. That process, while essential, creates byproducts, exhaust fumes, essentially. These are called reactive oxygen species, or free radicals.
And they're bad.
In excess, yes. They're unstable molecules that can damage important cellular components, DNA, proteins, fats, like little bits of rust accumulating.
And that contributes to aging and disease over time.
That's the theory. This damage builds up.
Yeah.
Now, CR seems to do two things here. First, it appears to reduce the production of these free radicals, like tuning the engine to run cleaner.
Okay, less exhaust.
And second, it seems to boost our body's own built-in antioxidant defenses, the systems that neutralize these free radicals.
So less production, better cleanup.
Exactly. A double whammy against oxidative damage, protecting cells from the inside out.
That makes intuitive sense, less wear and tear at the most basic level. You also mentioned revisiting insulin sensitivity. How does that play out more broadly here?
Well, we talked about diabetes, but stable blood sugar from improved insulin sensitivity has wider benefits. It reduces something called glycation.
Glycation, what's that? Sounds sticky.
It kind of is. Excess sugar in the blood can randomly attach itself to proteins and fats, forming these things called advanced glycation end products.
AGEs.
AGEs.
Apt acronym.
And these AGEs cause damage. They make tissues stiffer, less flexible, promote inflammation. They contribute to aging and complications in various diseases.
So stable blood sugar from CR means fewer AGEs forming.
Precisely. It helps protect tissues from getting, well, gummed up and damaged by excess sugar sticking where it shouldn't. Keeps things more supple and functional.
Okay, fewer AGEs. Got it. Now, you mentioned something intriguing before. Sirtuins, what are they?
Sirtuins. They're a really cool family of proteins. Think of them as like cellular managers or guardians.
Guardians. Okay, what do they guard?
They play key roles in metabolism, DNA repair, controlling inflammation, really important maintenance jobs within the cell.
And CR affects them.
Yes. Studies show CR activates sirtuins. It switches them on, basically.
Why would eating less switch them on?
It might be an ancient survival mechanism. When resources are a bit scarce, the body focuses on maintenance and efficiency, and sirtuins seem central to that response.
Interesting.
And this activation is strongly linked in research to the health span and potential lifespan extension effects seen with CR in animals. They help keep cells resilient and functioning well for longer.
So CR kicks these cellular guardians into higher gear. Wow, what else happens at this level? Autophagy.
Yes, autophagy, another crucial process. It literally means self-eating.
Sounds a bit drastic.
Well, it's actually your cell's natural recycling and waste disposal system. It's how they break down and remove old, damaged, or malfunctioning parts, proteins, organelles, things like that.
So cellular housekeeping.
Perfect analogy. It clears out the junk, recycles usable components, and CR is a potent stimulator of autophagy
Why is stimulating it good?
because it maintains cell health. It clears out potentially toxic protein aggregates like those implicated in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. It removes damaged mitochondria. It's essential for cellular rejuvenation and, again, potentially linked to longevity.
So CR helps cells clean house more effectively. Amazing. And we keep mentioning inflammation. How does CR affect that systemically?
Right, we talked about fat tissue producing inflammatory signals. Chronic low-level inflammation is like this smoldering fire in the body, contributing to almost every major age-related disease, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, neurodegeneration, cancer,
A common thread.
a very common thread. And CR consistently shows anti-inflammatory effects, partly by reducing fat tissue, but also by changing metabolic signals that influence inflammation pathway.
So it helps dampen down that chronic smoldering.
Exactly, calming the system, which has incredibly broad health benefits.
It really does feel like everything is connected. You also mentioned DNA repair briefly.
Yes, our DNA is constantly under threat from damage, from metabolism, from environmental factors. Maintaining its integrity is fundamental to health.
To prevent mutations, cancer.
Right. And there's some really interesting, though perhaps less established, evidence suggesting CR might enhance the cell's intrinsic DNA repair mechanisms.
So not only less damage from oxidative stress, but potentially better fixing of the damage that does occur.
That's the ideal, like giving the cellular repair crews better tools or making them more efficient, another layer of protection.
This is incredible, the depth of these potential effects from just adjusting intake. What about hormones? You touched on that.
Yeah, it's complex, but CR does influence key hormones.
Yeah.
Growth hormone, IGF-1, that's insulin-like growth factor 1 thyroid hormones.
And changes there are generally good.
Some seem to be linked to the benefits. For example, lower levels of IGF-1 are associated with longer lifespan in many organisms. It's about shifting the body's signaling towards maintenance and resilience rather than rapid growth and reproduction, which is what IGF-1 often promotes.
Shifting priorities. Interesting. Okay, we've journeyed deep into the cell. Let's bring it back up to the brain. Huge area of concern for so many people.
Absolutely, and the brain connection is a really exciting frontier in CR research.
So how might eating less protect our brains?
Well, think about what we just discussed. Reduced oxidative stress, reduce inflammation, improve glucose metabolism, and insulin sensitivity. All those things are good for brain cells, too.
Creates a healthier environment for the brain.
Exactly. A less damaging, less inflamed, more metabolically stable environment. That itself is neuroprotective. It helps shield neurons from damage and degeneration.
Makes sense. What about actual cognitive function, memory, learning?
There's promising evidence, mainly from animal studies so far, but some intriguing findings from human studies on CR or related approaches like intermittent fasting too,
Suggesting improvements.
suggesting potential improvements in memory, learning, and other cognitive domains. Again, more research is needed in humans, but the signals are positive.
That's really hopeful. And the big scary ones, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, any link there?
This is where we need to be cautious, but optimistic. Preliminary research suggests CR might reduce the risk or slow the progression,
How?
possibly through mechanisms like boosting that autophagy process we talked about, helping clear out the toxic protein clumps like amyloid and tau in Alzheimer's, or alpha-synuclein in Parkinson's, also reducing inflammation and oxidative stress, which are factors in these diseases too.
So helping the brain clean itself up and protecting it from damage?
That's the hope, yes.
Yes.
It's early days for definitive proof in humans, but it's a very active and important area of research. Offers a potential non-drug approach to explore.
Definitely something to watch. Okay, switching gears slightly. You mentioned becoming more efficient. What did you mean by metabolic efficiency?
Right, so when your body consistently gets fewer calories, it can adapt over time. It learns to extract energy from food more effectively and potentially reduce energy expenditure slightly.
So your metabolism doesn't just crash, it adapts.
It adapts to become more efficient, like a car getting better miles per gallon. This can actually be helpful for maintaining weight loss long term and for overall metabolic health.
That's a different way of looking at metabolic adaptation. Usually people worry about it slowing down.
Well, it might slow slightly in terms of total calories burned at rest, but the efficiency increases. And some researchers think this adaptation might be beneficial, perhaps making the body more resilient to stress or periods of scarcity, like our ancestors faced.
An evolutionary angle. Interesting. Okay, this all sounds incredibly positive, almost too good to be true sometimes. Which means we absolutely need to talk about the caveats, the important considerations.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial. We cannot stress this enough. CR is not about deprivation or malnutrition.
Right. Nutrient density is paramount.
Paramount.
Yeah.
You must get all your essential vitamins, minerals, protein, healthy fats. That means focusing intensely on the quality of the food you eat. Lots of whole foods.
Vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, whole grains.
Exactly. You can't just eat smaller portions of junk food and expect these benefits. The nutrients are non-negotiable.
And it's not one size fits all, right? My calorie needs are different from yours.
Completely different. Age, sex, activity level, genetics, metabolism, it all plays a role. A 20% reduction for one person might be way too much or too little for another. It has to be individualized.
Which leads to sustainability. Going too extreme isn't going to work long term.
Definitely not. Extreme restriction can cause serious problems. Muscle loss, intense fatigue, nutrient deficiencies, hormonal disruptions, even impacting mental health or triggering disordered eating patterns.
So the goal is a gentle, sustainable reduction you can live with.
Yes, a moderate deficit that allows for gradual change and doesn't leave you feeling constantly deprived or unwell. It's a lifestyle shift, not a crash diet.
Are there any common, maybe milder side effects people might notice even with a sensible approach?
Some people report feeling colder, maybe some initial fatigue as the body adjusts, or sometimes menstrual irregularities in women if the deficit is too large or implemented too quickly. Being aware and adjusting is key.
Which really underscores the need to talk to a professional.
Absolutely. Cannot emphasize this enough. If you have any pre-existing health condition, diabetes, heart issues, kidney disease, anything, or if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or have a history of eating disorders, please talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian before considering CR.
They can help figure out if it's safe and appropriate for you and how to do it right.
Exactly. Safety first, always.
Okay. So wrapping this up, the big picture seems to be that eating less when, and this is the important part, when done thoughtfully, focusing on nutrient-dense foods and finding a sustainable individual level. It offers this really remarkable spectrum of potential benefits, far beyond just the number on the scale.
Absolutely. From your heart to your blood sugar, potentially reducing risks for major diseases, all the way down to how your cells clean themselves up, repair damage, and maybe even how your brain ages. It's profound.
It really makes you think differently about not just what's on your plate, but maybe how much is on there too.
It does. It emphasizes that both quality and quantity matter for long-term health and well-being.
So, a final thought for everyone listening. Considering all these interconnected benefits, maybe think about what one small sustainable adjustment you could potentially explore in your own eating habits. Not drastically, but thoughtfully. What might that unlock for your health?
Great question to ponder.
For more deep dives like this into health and well-being, definitely